Pues muy buenas tardes de nuevo, volvemos a estar en directo.
Good afternoon again. We go back to our live streaming in the channel of the regional government of Madrid, and it is a great pleasure to have with us Cole Delaney, who's going to be talking about how to see your animation work in the media, in the industry media. He's a wonderful person who's going to give us a very interactive presentation. Thank you very much.
I have no idea what you said, but thank you so much. It was lovely. Hello, everyone. How are you guys? This is going to be in English, by the way. Is that okay for everyone? Yeah? Okay, cool. I just need to know who I'm talking to, first of all. Are you guys primarily students? Could you put your hand up if you're a student? Is that okay? Okay, well, you're a student, but they're apparently not. So, is anyone working? Works professionally? Okay, they're all up the back, up the front. Does anyone want to work in the industry? Okay. So, how many of you guys have actually made an animated work? Yeah, completed? Completed work, okay. So I'm here to talk to you. The guys had a great presentation earlier about going through the process of animation, what that looks like, all the different stages in a 3D pipeline. But then, I mean, it's the idea, why do we make animated works? I mean, why do we actually go out of our way to make something? If we didn't want to share it, it would just stay in our heads, right? So we actually go through a lot of work, and animating is a huge amount of work. As anyone who's made it, we understand this is a huge amount of work. It's not just getting your friends together, shooting a video. There is months, years, and years of work. So let's check this out, right? So you're making your animation. You finally have it made all the way, ba, 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 ba. But who are you going to show it to? Well, that's where we step in, because you're actually not at the end yet. So this is really what I'm going to talk about here, this final part of the bar, okay? So it's talking about promoting. And if you made your animated work, whether it's a short, whether it's a feature film, how then do you get people to talk about it? How then do you get people to know about it? And most of the time, you approach someone like me who works in the media side of things, you know, works for Cartoon Brew. People, do you read Cartoon Brew? Does anyone know that? 4 people? Where do you guys get your news about animation? Do you just find it yourselves, or what's the... Someone shout out an answer there. A teacher. Okay, anybody else? Friends? Do you listen to your friends talking about it? Animation Magazine, do you read that? Does anyone know that exists? Okay, good, yeah. Animation World Network, there's loads of stuff like that you can basically promote to. But most of the times, things like podcasts or YouTube are pretty good for finding stuff as well. Really good, natural way to do it. But if you're coming and talking to me, I work for Cartoon Brew, generally that means you have to come through us somehow. You have to find a contact, right? So if you've made an animated work, you have to basically come to us, and this is the start of your promotion, okay, to get the word out. And you can do it 2 ways. You can either find a publicist, or you can just do it yourself, okay? Now, the benefits of a publicist is they have all the contacts. They know exactly who you need to talk to. They have the entire distribution list. They know how to sell. They know the language of sales, okay? And they're fast. By just getting someone else involved, that means that they're doing a different work for you. So it doesn't mean that you have to get in and get involved, research all this stuff yourself. They're going to get it done. You can basically get them involved. But does anyone know the downside of a publicist, especially for independent people? Costs money, guys. Costs money. Maybe we don't have it. Maybe we spend all the money making this animated work, right? So the other way about it then is just doing it yourself. But the problem is you have to find your own contacts. Learn sales talk. It's a lot of work. And it is slow because you're just doing it yourself. Now, you might be able to rope in your cousin, something like that. They may be able to help you out. I know that's what Osman Riaz did. He got his cousin involved to do all that kind of stuff. But these all sound like negatives, basically, in terms of the individual work. But there's a really good benefit to this to you guys, which means it's personal, right? This is really what we're looking for, is personal stories. So when you're pitching your animated work, right? You guys, you were talking about, you don't really read these newsletters, you don't really read these news websites, anything like that. So you're not really sure the language that those guys are writing in, okay? These are companies. They're not there to just take your work and promote it. You have to know who you're pitching to. They're looking for interesting stories. It's kind of fading in and out, is it? Or is it okay? The sound, yeah, you can hear me? Cool, perfect. So you have to know who you are pitching to, okay? Let's see what the next... Yeah, you have to research the company, okay? This is where all the sales talk comes in. You have to look up the specific journalist that you're talking to, whether that's me. And if you have sat down, you've gone through all this work and you said, listen, we've made this show Bad Dinosaurs, okay? This show is about dinosaurs who are bad at being dinosaurs. If you send that to Cartoon Brew, you send that to Animation Magazine, they're going to both have different ways of writing that story. And generally, through reading what they've already put out there, you'll kind of get a better sense of how you should write the document to send to them. So you shouldn't just write one document and send it to loads of people. You really have to kind of be very specific as to how you're writing and how you're sending that to different people, okay? And most importantly, I'm going to trip over this. I'm going to go to the other side. You need to be concise, okay? Do you guys get emails from colleges all the time and stuff? Stuff in your inbox, spam? We get loads of stuff all the time. You need to respect their time and, most importantly, their autonomy. Okay, they're the ones that are going to be making the decision in this at the end of the day, right? Really and truly. So that might sound a bit negative, but it basically means just write a short email if you're going to send an email. Really think about what you're going to put in there. This is kind of the stuff that we get. Now, I've redacted all the information I shouldn't be sharing, but I've left most of it in. And this is just the first part of the email. Goes on and on and on. So I'll read it out. Look, whatever. Blah, blah announces largest set for development as graphic novel. Okay, this is the stuff we get all the time. This executive producer who's co-developing and producing, all these buzzwords, right? It's all sales stuff. On this day, the controlling partner today announced the development plans, one for whatever it's called. Let's call this, I don't know, Batman. One of the largest initial ensemble creations by the legendary. So you can see they're peppered throughout language to try and make you interested and involved somehow. But it actually, when I see a block of text like this, I'm just like, oh God, I have to read all this. And then I'm not even sure what it's actually about sometimes. Look, and even have quotes from the people there, was incredibly proud, what he was proud to have. Now, this is important to send to news outlets as press releases for sure, because they can take this and pull the story out of it. But it doesn't keep us interested, right? It doesn't keep us interested. Whereas my favorite types of emails look like this. Hi, Cole. Always grateful if this story might be of use to you, and you might give it some space in your next edition. We'll be sure to keep you posted as this project evolves. It's getting tremendous attention at this blah, blah, blah thing. Where I've been. Big thanks from me and the whole team. I've never talked to this man. Okay, I don't know who he is. I actually don't know. But he's talking to me as if he knows me. And it kind of makes me want to help him, you know, promote this stuff. So when you get emails like this big block of black there, that's a link. He's included a link. So I can just see that, oh cool, here's a nice guy, sent a lovely email. I'll click on the link, I'll get all the information. I don't have to sift through so much text to get to the end to try and understand what's going on. So there's been a bit of thought into this, right? It doesn't look like it because it's very short, but someone has put a lot of thought into making this really, really short. Very personal. It's not like, hey, Cartoon Brew, it's hi, Cole, right? And that's the next thing I'd say to you. If you guys, some of you said that you've made animated work, right? You finished stuff, yeah? What have you done? Uploaded it on YouTube and stuff, or it's doing festivals? Sorry? Did someone say something? Speak up, don't worry, I'll hear you. Yeah. No? Anybody who finished it? Yeah? Yes. And you've uploaded it, have you? Festival run. Yeah, that kind of stuff. How are you finding the responses? Yeah. Hopefully this helps. Yeah. Anybody else? You feel like I'm picking on people here, so. You thinking of Vimeo and stuff as well, are you? Or?
To my YouTube channel or my Instagram profile, that does count as.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think YouTube and stuff like that is great. Really, the best DMs are not even emails. I just get a DM from someone on Instagram, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, 100%," and they have a link in there. I can just straight through. So this is the good stuff. This is also what we get, and it makes people far more interested, right? Now, like I was saying, include a link to watch. In your pitch, have you a link to the short? Great, yeah, that's a good step, right? So it's really important because this pays back to respecting people's time and their autonomy, because you've got a little block of text and then a little link that they can kind of go, oh, I'm curious what that's about, but it's there ready for me. What you don't want to do is have an email saying, hey, are you interested in covering this thing? And then no information beside it after all. Sometimes you think that might be building intrigue. It doesn't. You just kind of delete those emails because that means more work for us. Basically replying back, opening a dialogue. Might sound a bit harsh, but we get so many of these every day, really and truly. And most of you guys don't even read that news. So you can imagine. So you want to make it easy. Okay, don't get in your own way here. You want to make it personal. The guy's talking earlier about that short film Cuerdas, right? And his son. Oh my God, beautiful story, right? So personal. That's something you want to be a part of because you want to help someone go through that. They're able to connect to you through that personal story, right? And I think that's really the power of it. When you're personal, you're authentic, and people want to rally behind that. And beyond all that, it's also really important to make it mutually beneficial. Do you understand what that means? Yeah? It means that it benefits you guys for us promoting it, showing it in a festival, but it also has to benefit them by the means that people actually want to read this story. Okay? They actually want to get involved with this. And that's really, really, really key. It's think about why would they want my short? I mean, we spend a lot of time, anyone who's made any animated work, we spend a lot of time putting your heart and soul and time and energy into something. But why would anyone watch it? You've got to really ask yourself that question. Why is this important? Why did you put so much of your soul, so much of your heart into something like this? And then have a pitch document that's like, by the way, here's the legendary next, and just really boring document, right? So you want to pour yourself into this message. Keep it concise, but understand that they have to think about why they want to look at this. So you want to get out of your own way, because sometimes as creators, we tend to get a bit stuck in why someone should watch something that I've made, right? I even asked myself when I was making this presentation, why would you guys listen? What's the benefit for you guys here, really and truly? Actually, as students, as people working in the industry, why would it be helpful to learn about promoting yourself? But you have to understand that, like I said at the start, we're creating stuff to share, so make it easy to share, right? You want to get out of your own way. And sometimes the best way to do that is to just get someone else involved, right? You just want to get a second pair of eyes onto something, and they'll look at it, and they'll be able to say, here's what's interesting, here's where I didn't find things interesting. And then you can put that through a filter of what you think actually serves your project the best way. But it really helps to kind of get other people involved all the time, right? Really, really, really and truly. The next tip I'd have for you guys is find a champion or two. Was anyone here for Usman when he was talking about the glass worker yesterday? Yeah? Can I see some hands? Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, cool. So you saw the process of development behind that. But you know what? They pitched to us in Cartoon Brew a long time ago. Totally ignored it. We didn't pick it up. I was asking the guys about it. I was just like, did we not get that? But when Manuel came on board, suddenly there was a champion that legitimized everything. Suddenly there was someone that was respected in the industry who said, no, there's something in this, and it makes people pay attention, right? So it's really important to find a champion. And the only way you're ever going to do stuff like that is through actually attending events like this and talking to people. That's actually the only way you're ever going to do it. Because even if you're getting into festivals, you still have to go out and talk about your work, right? You still have to put the groundwork in. You have to talk about this stuff. And that's where these champions really work. Has anyone ever heard of a studio from Ireland called Cartoon Saloon? Yeah? Okay. So Tom and Nora and Paul, who started that studio, they found a champion in a producer from Belgium called Didier Brunner. And he basically saw what they've done, and they were like, okay, actually, there's something here. There's something in this, guys. Really and truly, there's actually something in this. They did another feature film called The Breadwinner, and that was picked up by Angelina Jolie, right? Which gave it more breadth, more depth, more width, where people started to pay attention to it. So finding a champion, I think, is a really, really important thing to do, okay? Because you get access to their network. Remember at the start we were talking about doing things individually or doing things through a publicist? That whole thing about having a contact list, you've got it here when you have a champion. If you got Manuel involved in any of your shorts, you've got access to his entire network. Do you know what I mean? And on top of that, they legitimize your project, like you were saying. They give people in the industry will actually start paying attention then, because if you are part of an unknown thing, right? If you're some unknown studio in the back end of Ireland, in the back end of Spain, but a producer who has some clout in the industry, who's well known, or an actor or something becomes involved, gets attached to the project, that instantly becomes a line of dialogue in that little pitch that you're sending around. By the way, this person's involved. And you see that name and you're just like, oh, okay, let me click this link. Let's see what's going on here. So, in the spirit of networking, okay, we're going to do a little experiment. It's going to make you guys a little bit uncomfortable, okay, unfortunately. But it's only a minute. It's only 60 seconds. Most of you are probably sitting beside your friends. So if you're, like you're all looking at each other. If you're sitting beside someone you don't know, or even your friend, we're going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and I want you to introduce yourselves. I want you to say hello, okay? Deep breaths, everyone. This is possible, okay? It's only going to be, and you'll see the clock counting down, so if you start to panic, just stare at the clock, okay? Introduce yourself, say a little bit about why you're here, and then listen to the other person. You ready? Yeah. Let's go. We'll get you on stage. You're going to be talking to each other, by the way, not to me. Okay, you ready? Deep breaths. Off you go.
I recently graduated from the university.
Oh, graduate. Which university? Congratulations. Hope it goes well. I'll talk to you after. Okay, stop. That's enough. Whatever you're about to say, it doesn't matter anymore. So, is that person going to fund your next short film? Very unlikely. Are they going to be the person that helps you network your film? Potentially. Who knows? But the thing is, they're a face now in the crowd that you know. And the next time you attend something like this, you're going to know them and say, hey, remember that weird thing we did because that guy forced us to? I'm going to enjoy it. I want to talk a little bit about networking, which is basically what you just did. Okay? Whenever people hear the term networking, they think of it as this kind of dirty business word. Oh, networking. Oh, no. Ugh, networking. I have to go to this networking event. Ugh. I'll tell you a little bit about me. About maybe 5 years ago, I'd say, I was working in a company called Sky. I just hate things in my pocket. Sorry, I'm going to put them there. I was working in a company called Sky Television. Have you ever heard of them? They're in the, yeah, whatever. I was answering calls, okay? That's all I was doing. Call is just customer service. Hello, you're through to, what's your problem? And I thought to myself, how on earth am I going to get out of here? I actually had no idea. And I started a channel called Animation, a YouTube channel, and started making video essays about animated films because I really loved them and I felt I had something to say. And on the back of that, I started a podcast called Animator's Breakfast. Don't expect anyone here to know it. I think, has anyone ever heard of Animator's Breakfast? Put your hand up. Okay, thank you, Usman, who was also on the podcast one day. And thanks whoever else heard of it there, yeah. That's a podcast where we talk about inspiration with people who work in the industry. So rather than talking about them, we talk about what they love. And it seems to be very successful. But that helped as a platform for me to have something to say. And I remember I applied for a job to write a cartoon brew. I was just like, I need to do something right. And they rejected me for writing. They're like, you're not a very good writer for business content. But they were like, but we like your videos, so we'll hire you as a video producer. We'll try you out. And because of that, I started being sent to festivals. And that meant, as a natural introvert, I had to get out of my box and start talking to people. And I realized very quickly how to effectively talk to people. And I'm going to share my 5-step plan with you guys that'll hopefully help you when you're in a situation. Because now Manuel knows me and he's invited me to talk, even though 5 years ago he didn't know who I was. I didn't even know who I was 5 years ago, you know? I'm still not sure. So 5-step plan. Step 1, get in, right? If you see a group of people talking, let's just for the sake of it, imagine Hayao Miyazaki spoke English, okay? You saw him talking to some other people at a party. I'm sure you'd want to say hello and talk to him, right? You'd want some interaction. You know Hayao Miyazaki, yeah? Studio Ghibli? Yeah? Hands up? Who knows? Thank you. You'd want to talk to him, right? So how do you get into that conversation? Let's say you're Miyazaki, sorry, and you're some other person. How do you step into that conversation? You have to get in somehow, and it seems unapproachable. Generally what I do is I just go up and I say, sorry for interrupting you guys, big fan, but please continue, I'll step in when I'm ready. And I just stand there then, right? And laugh, interact a little bit. So it just breaks the ice slightly, but it also respects their time and autonomy, right? You just kind of get in. And the next thing, the next step to do when you have their attention is pay a compliment. Be positive about what you're saying. When people you love and they're your hero, you want to kind of gush at them about how much they've meant to you and how much their work has inspired you. And you kind of go on this like, oh my God, you know, you mean so much to me. You've no idea how much, all this stuff. And that's lovely to hear, right? Beautiful to hear. But it's not much of a conversation. It's kind of, you're just pushing your emotions on someone. So what you can do is instead, you can say, I really actually loved what you did. That was really interesting. That work you did on Spirited Away, oh my gosh, changed my life. What inspired you to do that? And that leads to the next point, which is be curious about them, right? This is another human being. Don't forget that. Even though you've put them up on a pedestal, this is a human being you're talking to. So be super curious. And when you're actually curious, you're not judgmental. The two can't really exist in the same space. So it lends this sense of authenticity to you. You know authenticity, that word, guys? Yeah? Yeah, sorry, just checking. My Spanish is terrible, so I'm not trying to demean anyone here. Be curious, right? Be very curious about them. But you have to be ready, because they're going to be curious about you. They're going to want to know about you. They're going to want to know what you're doing. And this is where you kind of have to take any shame or baggage or anything you have in your head about what you do and present yourself and say, hey, I'm Cole, I work in this business, and I try to do this. I'm excited about that. And just be like, but you know, I'm trying to grow in this direction. Don't be necessarily negative. You know, when someone asks you, hey, you're a student, you're going to go, yeah, costs so much money, I can't get a job, you know, all this stuff. Just be ready to be like, yeah, I am a student. I love animation. That's why I wanted to talk to you, actually, you know, because I'm really inspired by what you do, and I wonder, do you have any tips? So you can flip it back on them, right? That's the curiosity part of it. And the most important tip that I can give you guys is get out. That conversation's done, leave. Just get out of there. You really step in, pay your compliment, talk to someone, blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. They'll talk about you, whatever it is. When you feel that conversation dip or someone else steps in and has their attention, leave. Just get out of there. You don't need to hang around, okay? Because then you're just kind of standing there like this. And you kind of, ha, 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 you know, laugh at their joke. So it's really important to just get out of there. Even if you don't get their details. They'll remember that they spoke to you, and they'll be like, yeah, didn't we last time? And over a couple of times, you'll start to know each other. You'll start to know each other. It's not going to be immediate. That's the most important thing you have to understand about networking, is it's not instant. It is not instant. It takes time to build relationships, really and truly, outside of offering whatever it is. And if you can, the asterisk part of it is get their card. Don't give your card. Get theirs, because you're in control of that conversation then afterwards. If you give your business card to them, it's just going to go in a pile of business cards. Get their business card. That means you can email them when you're ready. Okay? You have their contact information. In a similar sense, the reason why I say get in and don't wait your turn, if you initiate a conversation, you get to dictate when that conversation ends. Right? That's a really important tip for anyone here. If you step in, say hello, you can leave whenever you want. If someone has said hello to you, you're kind of held captive until they're done with you, right? So, really important. If you can get their business card or their contact, I don't have a business card, I just get them to write their email into my phone, and then I have their email. So, just to recap that there, get in, pay your compliment, be curious, be ready, and get out of there, guys. Straight out. I can't stress that last one enough. That's really helped my career, is when to leave. When to leave. So, let's think a bit about what we were talking about, okay? In terms of approaching a immediate outlet. You have to do a little bit of defining what you're up to, okay? Talk about what you have, okay? Really think about it. What have I got here? What have I made? What have I actually made? Okay? In the case of The Glass Worker, because those ones up there, sorry to keep picking on you, that's a film, beautiful hand-drawn animated film from guys who never knew how to animate ever, but loved the craft so much that they dedicated 10 years of their lives to figure out how to make a hand-drawn animated film, which is insane, right? That alone is insane. But what is it actually about? If anyone hasn't seen it, it's about art and why people go to war and what they're defending, but what did they lose in that defense of the war? So they're really thinking about what they have. And when the guys, you know how we picked up The Glass Worker in the end? Is because of Manuel. It is because of Manuel, because Amid, who's the editor of Curtain Brew, forgot it. He was sent an email about Glassworker. Totally was just like, okay, didn't do anything with it. But then Manuel worked his back routes, got us involved, and showed us why we should care about that film, really and truly, because they had a champion. The next thing is, when you're approaching the news outlets, once you've done all this definition, by the way, it takes a lot of work. Spend a lot of time in that definitions phrase. Then when you're approaching them, understand who you're talking to and alter it to whoever you're talking to, right? And really and truly, I can't stress this enough, just be authentic. Just be yourself. Those steps will help you through the stages, but being yourself is what actually make you memorable by someone, you know? Whoever you are sitting in this audience, just understand that being yourself is enough, really and truly. There might be some edges you might need to sand down a bit. We all have them, I have it. But it's about being authentic. So, this presentation was never going to be long because I wanted to give you guys time to talk to each other. Oh, I'm going to do more talking. Uh-oh. The thing is, with any networking event, you have to understand that every moment is the new opportunity. And those opportunities are a good time to practice what we're talking about, which is get in, pay your compliment, be curious, whatever my other two steps were. Be curious, be ready, and get out. It's always good practice. And the thing is, when you think about promoting your work, the start of it, it never stops. It actually never stops. Who here is making something animated at the moment? Okay. And even in college, are you guys working on stuff? Sorry. I swear I'm going to die on that thing. So, let's talk. We're going to spend the rest of the time just getting to know each other, okay? What time is it? Huh? I don't know. Sorry. We got 20 minutes to talk amongst ourselves, okay? I'll be here to answer any questions that you guys may have as well, but really we're going to spend a bit of time talking to each other. If you want to stand out, if we want to go out to the foyer, if that's okay. Whatever it is, I think it's important to talk, okay? So that is the presentation. Really get to know each other here, okay? Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias, Cole. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much, Cole. Thank you. So we're going to say goodbye until